Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Thunder, and today we're going to be working on the storage system. This system is going to be pretty straightforward, as again we already laid down the foundation for it in the inventory system, which is something really important to do in games. Make sure that when you code a system, it's fully adaptable, so you're coding in a way that it can adapt to other systems you might want to integrate in the future. That's something really important when it comes to making a game and coding in general, because right now we already have the drag and drop system, and the drag and drop system was done, it's fully adaptable to adding a storage system. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to need 4 scripts. Actually no, 2 scripts. So let's go into scripts, and I'm going to create a new folder that's going to be called storage system. I'm just going to call it storage. So first thing we're going to do is create a C# script storage, and then create another C# script storage UI. So basically the way it's going to work, we're going to have our storage UI, which is going to have the slots and everything, and then the storage, it's basically going to pass its items data and stacks into storage UI, and once we move it around and close it, it will pass it back to storage and update storage. So when we open, storage gets passed into the UI, then when we close, the UI gets passed into storage. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it does. So let's just wait for this thing to load, and once it's done, we'll get to it. I'm just gonna pause the video really quick. Alright, it already loaded. So first thing, let's go into our window handler script, because we're going to need a reference of the storage UI. So we're going to do over here hiding inspector, and then we are going to do public storage UI, not storage, storage UI. I'm going to call it storage. Then over here is the same thing, storage.getComponent, storage equals getComponent in children, storage. And if window opened, alright, so if window open, capital lock cursor. Okay, over here do storage UI, not just storage. So we're not gonna need to add it over here, because again, in the case of crafting and storage, it's always going to be open when the inventory is open, so we do not need to add any reference here. We will be using this, for example, for, I don't know, things like pause menu. You know, when we make a pause menu, we will have to add it here. But right now, as these are all only open when the inventory is open, then we really don't need for it to be like that. So we can just use inventory.open. So what we're gonna do next is, let's go back to Unity and open our storage script and storage UI. Basically the way it's gonna work, we're gonna have an array of slots, then we're gonna have a storage slot prefab, which basically is where all the items are gonna be contained, and then we pass it on to the UI. So it's going to actually create a new script here also, which is going to be called storage slot, as we're going to use a normal slot for this. So in storage slot, this is going to be like a data holder pretty much. All it's going to have is an item data and a stack size. That's all the functionality for it. So we're going to do public inventory item SO. Okay, item SO, sorry. I just have it on my game as inventory item SO and just get confused with it. And I'm gonna call it data. Then I'm gonna do public int, and it's going to be called stack size. Then we're going to go ahead and open up storage. Also guys, something really quick that I want to mention before I forget it. I will be showing you guys how to implement multiplayer and a saving system into the game. I'm not sure if I said this last video about the saving system, but I will showing you how to save inventory and basically save the builded items. But that's gonna be it, like buildables, so the base, the storage, and that's it. And also for the networking, it's not gonna be a server-based structure, as that is really complex. That's what I have in my game. Basically, like Rust, you connect to a server, each server is different from each other. It's gonna be peer-to-peer. So basically, the host, so someone hosts it, and they are the server. So just keep that in mind. It's not gonna be the safest system. Actually, it's not even gonna be safe. But it's the simplest way to show you how to do multiplayer, and it should be enough if you want to make a casual co-op game. Because really, for a co-op game, you won't need any sort of anti-cheat or security for it, as it's basically players cooperating against the environment. So you should be good in that regard. Now, going back to the video. Over here, what we're gonna do is a public storage slot, and it's gonna be an array. I'm just gonna call it slots. And then we're gonna do a bool, which is open. The reason we're doing this, I will explain in a moment. Space. Then over here we're gonna do a public void, and it's going to be called open, and we're gonna pass it a storage UI. I'm just gonna call it UI. Alright, then we're gonna do public void close, and then we're gonna pass it a slot, just slot, not storage slot, array. I wanna call it, okay, so we're gonna basically call it, I guess we'll do UI slots. That should do it. So let's go ahead, and first we're gonna do over here, let's code the open. Actually no, let's code closing first, because we'll need to code our storage UI in order to do open. So on close, basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna run a for int I equals 0. If I is less than UI slots dot length, then I plus plus. And then down here, what we're going to do is if UI slots I dot item data, that data, yeah, we have that data, that data equals null, then what we're going to do is slots I equals that data, equals null. And then we'll do else slots I dot data equals UI slots I dot data. And then we're just gonna do, we don't have to run any checks for the part of these tags, because that doesn't really affect any of the code, because it automatically will be 0 if our slot is empty. So we're good when it comes to that. So then we're gonna do slots I dot stack size equals UI slots dot stack size. Oh, UI slots I dot stack size. And there we go. That's our closing. Actually, we're gonna add one more thing. Open equals false. Over here, I'm just gonna right click over here and open storage UI. So quick actions, go to definition. Okay, so right here is going to be pretty simple. We're going to have a public slot array. I'm just going to call it slots. Then it's pretty much going to be the same. We're going to have another thing called public storage, and I'm going to call it storage opened. Then we're going to do, basically, I believe it would be a public void open. When we open, we're gonna pass it a storage So I'm just gonna have storage. Then we are going to go ahead and do, first of all, storage open equals storage. And then I'm just gonna really quick do the public void close. So public void close. We're not gonna pass it anything. All we're gonna do is over here we're gonna do if storage open equals null, we're going to return. Otherwise, we're going to do storage open dot close, and we are going to stop on our we're gonna pass it the slots. There we go. So that's gonna be it. The reason I'm not doing anything for the UI is because our storage slot or storage UI, sorry, will get closed automatically once we close our inventory. So we really don't need to code anything here UI wise. Actually, we do have to code some things. Never mind. So over here I'm gonna do a space, and I'm gonna make a public void open, and then no public void, public bool, sorry. Then I'm gonna do a public vector3, which is basically gonna be the position this will be in when it's open. Open position. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And for the crafting manager, we'll have to change a couple of things, but we should be all right. Okay, next thing's gonna be on close, obviously, opened equals false, and over here opened equals true. All right, next thing will be basically we are going to pass to get our data. So we're gonna do for, okay, not f0r, for int I equals 0 if I is less than storage dot storage slots dot length. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to make this storage fully customizable, so you can have as many slots as you want. So in here we're going to be generating slots based on, you know, like how many slots there is. Now what we're going to do is over here we're gonna make a list instead of an array. List slot. And now what we're going to do next is going to be on close. Okay, and right down here you do slots.toArray. And then once it gets closed, we're basically gonna do slot. We're gonna do a slot class, and it's gonna be called slots to destroy. And this is going to be like equals get components in children slot. How this is gonna work, every time we open our storage, we're going to generate it, then generate the slots based on the storage size. Then after that, what we're gonna do is we're going to delete them all because we don't want them getting duplicated, because a lot of storages, some storages that you do might have size of 10, others might have 20. It depends on you. So okay, first let me just close this line. All right, then we're gonna run a for int I equals 0 if I is less than slots to destroy dot length, then I plus plus. And this is gonna be pretty simple. All we do is destroy parentheses, and inside we put slots to destroy I dot game object, and that's it. That's it for a closing function. So we're done. Now next thing that we have to do is over here actually generate our slots. So what we're going to do is down in here, first I'm gonna hide this in the inspector because we really don't need it. Hiding inspector. And then over here we're gonna do public slot prefab. So this is basically gonna be our slot prefab that will get generated. So it's basically the same thing as the inventory. Now over here we're gonna do slot equals instantiate slot prefab slot prefab. Okay, I did the wrong thing. Instantiate slot prefab, comma, and then we're gonna add a content holder. So public transform content, and we're gonna instantiate it there. We're gonna do content, and right after the parentheses, what we're gonna do is dot get component. Okay, sorry about that noise, guys. Slot. All right. Next thing, we're gonna update the data. So over here, we're gonna do if storage dot slots I dot data equals null, then slot dot data equals null, else slot dot data equals storage dot slots I dot data. And again, we're just gonna do this stack size by itself. So slot dot data equals storage slots, okay, storage dot slots I dot stack size. There we go. And then last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add it to our slots list. So then we're gonna do slots dot list, okay, dot add, and we're gonna do slot. So that should do it. Okay, okay, I did data. We gotta do stack size. And then at the end, after adding the slot, we're gonna do slot right here dot update slot. So we actually display the information. And I believe that should be it for here, but we're gonna have to make some changes to our storage. So next thing over here on open, what we're gonna do is basically we are gonna pass it. So we're passing a UI. We're gonna do UI dot open, and we're gonna pass this. We're gonna pass the storage, and that will be it. That's your storage system coded pretty much. Now we have to make the UI, which it should be pretty simple. It's pretty much the same as the inventory, so you shouldn't have an issue with it. I will make it on top of the, how do you call it, the crafting manager, the crafting list, just so that it actually hides it, but I will show you how to set this up right now. So first thing, let's go over to our player. We're gonna go over to the canvas, and we're gonna go in all menus, and right here we're gonna right click, create empty, and it's gonna be called storage UI. I'm just gonna call it storage. Then we're gonna add the component storage UI. Okay, so on the slot prefab, we're basically gonna drag our slot prefab. So go to assets, prefabs, and drag slot right in. Then we're gonna have to do one more thing. So right click over here on empty spot in the hierarchy right here. Right click and do create empty. This is gonna be called storage slot. Then we're gonna add the component storage slot, and this is what we're gonna use for our storage box. I don't have a model right now, but I will make one really soon. Actually, I will just pause the video and make it for you guys and leave it down in the description so you can download it. Again, this is just to show you how to do things, but I also want to leave you some models because it's hard to find some decent models sometimes. So I like to make at least one model related to what we're doing so you guys have something to go off from. But you can find any storage box models in the asset store. Just look it up and you should be able to find it for free. But just in case, I'll leave you guys some. So next thing, select your storage slot, drag it down here, and then just delete it from here. Alright, going back to our storage UI, here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna just deactivate post processing. Yeah, over here you deactivate all visual effects, sky, fog, various other effects. So it's really useful for when you're working in the editor. This just does it to the editor. It doesn't affect the game at all. So next thing, we're going to, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna copy the content holder from the inventory and I'm gonna adapt it to my storage. But you guys really don't have to. You can just create it from scratch. So I'm gonna do Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, drag it into storage. Then I'm just gonna rename it to background. So VG, and then I'm gonna drag it to the right, and I'm gonna make the background a lot smaller. First, let me deactivate my crafting so I have a clear view of it. Okay, so background, let me lower the width. I think that's a pretty good size for what I'm looking for, but again, you guys can go ahead and do it your way. It's your own game, you know, you don't have to do things as I do. The UI is a separate thing apart, has nothing to do with coding, so it's up to you how do you do it. Okay, now it's 6. I'm gonna lower it to 3 to fit my UI. Again, you'll have to play with those values. Although I am gonna test it by duplicating this. So yeah, I can fit 3 pretty good. So I'm gonna be doing 12 slots on my storage. Just remember that if you keep duplicating them, you see they will go below the actual fit of it. So just keep that in mind. Alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. And then on storage, I already have this. Then I'm gonna drag the content holder to it. So next thing we're going to do. Here on storage, in my case, the default position when it's open is already 0, 0, 0. So I can just leave it like this. But if you had it like over here, you know, or like more upwards or anything, you will have to just copy the Y over here, X over here, and Z over here. So just remember to do that, otherwise it won't show as you want it. And I believe that should be all for this. That should be it. Okay, next thing we're going to do, I'm just gonna go ahead and select my player. And over here on the window handler, where is it? Okay, never mind, we don't have to do anything of that. I'm gonna create a box. So I'm just gonna pause the video, make the model, and so you guys can see the actual model in here. And that should be pretty good, so I'll see you guys in a moment. Okay guys, so here's the box model folder with everything in it, the actual model and the textures. I will show you right now how to put the textures in case you don't remember. But first I'm gonna drag the box model in here, and we're gonna drag it up. As you can see over here, it's pretty huge right now, so I'm gonna scale it down a little like that. Then I'm gonna create 2 materials. So one's gonna be called bottom and the other one's gonna be called top. Now lock your material, select the top material and lock it right here. Then go in your textures folder, and I believe this one right here, drag it to albedo, then the white one to occlusion, and this blue one over here. Oh, not detail mask, sorry. Drag it to normal map. And hit fix now. Just keep in mind, these are 2 different texture sets. So these ones right here are for the top, and the other ones are for the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and same thing, select bottom, unlock your inspector and then lock it again. Go to textures and drag the first texture into albedo, the first white one into occlusion, and the first blue one into normal map. Then hit fix now. Now go ahead and unlock your inspector, go into box model, drag top to the top of the box and bottom to the actual box. And there you go, you have a box model. Again, it's not the best one, but it will do the work. Just gonna quickly go ahead and hit play, see how it looks, and if it looks correctly, we'll start adding our scripts. Okay, so enter play mode. Just give it a second, guys. Again, I'm recording on my laptop, so it's kind of slow. There we go. Okay, the model's still way too big. So yeah, we're going to need to make it smaller. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Select your model, scale it down. I'm gonna scale about that size and like this. Then we're gonna do two more things. So we're going to go ahead and do add component, storage. Then we're gonna add component, box collider. And if you cannot see the box collider outline, like I can, go ahead and hit, sorry guys, go ahead and hit gizmos. Now you can see it right there, it's not fitting. So what we're gonna do, first I'm gonna set myself like this on the side, and then just make it hit right here in the center. Then just zoom out. I'm gonna double click on box model so I can see it. And then you can see the exact limits of it. So over here where it says size on box collider, hover over where it says X and just hold your click and drag it, keep dragging it about that size. Then go over here and click X and do the same thing, but in this case for on the Z. On Z, do that, and there you go. You have your collider set up right. Now, next thing we're going to do is, I believe, yeah, that should be it. Box collider and storage. Yeah, that's right. But we're gonna have to go and modify our storage script a little. So storage UI, storage slot. Where is the storage at? Okay, we're in storage, sorry. So below slots, first thing we're going to do is hiding inspector, and then we're going to do two more things. So public storage slot prefab, and then we're gonna do a public int box size. I'm gonna give it a default value of 12 because that's how many slots I want to have in this box. Now just remember this is only gonna be played on start. Once the box appears in our game, in this case it's already in the game, so once we start our game. After that the box won't change, so just pre-make the size. So I'm gonna do 12 by default, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a start function. On start, we're just gonna go ahead and generate those slots. So we're gonna do for int I equals 0 if I is less than box size. Actually, I'm gonna do storage size. Storage size. Now over here, storage size. If it's less than storage size, then I plus plus. Okay, and over here, what we're gonna do is we're going to instantiate a slot prefab, and we're doing a comma transform. Then we're going to go ahead and do the following. So go back here out of the for and do list storage slot equal, okay, I'm gonna do slot list, and I'm gonna do equals new list storage slot. Then over here we're gonna do here storage slot, and then right after the parentheses of instantiate we're gonna do dot get component storage slot. Then just do the two parentheses, and here after slot we're gonna add a equal sign. Then inside here what we're going to do is slot list dot add slot. Okay, slot with lowercase s. Then we're going to go right outside the for. After a for, what we're gonna do is slots equals slot list dot to array. And there we go, we have the slot generation set up. Now on open, over here, or after we do open, we're gonna do opened equals true. And now on close, open. Okay, we got it already. So next thing, we're gonna go to our interaction handler, and this should be the last thing we do. So let's look it up in here. Interaction handler. And over here, we're gonna add one more thing. So we're gonna do storage equals hit.transform.getComponent storage. Then two parentheses and close. And now down here we're gonna do if storage is not equals null, and then we're gonna check if storage dot open, if it's not storage dot open, sorry. So add the exclamation sign at the beginning. Dot opened. Okay, let's go back to storage because I forgot to add the public. So go ahead and add public. Save it and go back to interaction handler. If it's not open, then we actually go ahead and open it. Storage dot open. And we're gonna pass get component in parent window handler dot storage. So we're passing it our storage UI. And that's it for coding, I'm pretty sure. Most likely I'll be missing something, but let's go ahead and do the whole setup for the storage box and we'll just test it. Alright, so select your storage box first of all. Then first we need to go back to our prefabs folder, so go to assets, prefabs, and select the box and drag the storage slot to it. Now I'm going to check if I did drag the storage actually into here, storage UI, slot. Yes, we do have the slot prefab. And as I said a moment ago, I was sure I was forgetting something. Guess what? I was. So go back to storage UI. And we're going to do up here, update. And we're going to do if open transform dot position dot local position, sorry, equals open position, else transform dot position equals new vector 3. We're gonna do 10,000 negative 10,000 on the x, comma 0, comma 0. Then just close it and there we go, we're fine. Okay, next thing, go into survival game and let's test it. Hopefully this works at the first try. Alright, I'm gonna clear the console real quick, hit play, and actually try and open this storage. So, okay, we might be having a couple of bugs, but let's try to go ahead and open the storage. Of course it's not working. Let me check what's not working. So drop back, it's okay, default layer, blah blah. Well, honestly I have no idea why it's not working. So storage UI, it's opened right now. So yeah, it's actually there. Okay, it actually opened. So if we close it, okay, it's sort of open, I guess. Yeah, but if I keep pressing that, okay, I know what's going on. So here's what we're gonna do. First, crafting, reactivate it because I forgot that. And second, we're going to go back to inventory manager. Let me see if I have it loaded here. We're gonna go to our inventory manager. Okay, so inventory manager, and over here, if it's not open, we're gonna check if window handler We have a reference? No. Okay, so we have to if get component in parent. Okay. Well, guys, I have to plug in the laptop most likely. Yep. So I'm just gonna finish this line of code, plug it in really quick, and I'll be back. But first, let's finish this. So in parent, we are going to do window handler, then two parentheses dot storage dot open. Then we do get component in parent, window handler. Why does it keep doing get component? Get component in parent, window handler, two parentheses dot close. So okay, dot storage dot close. There we go. All right. So next thing, let's go back to our inventory and actually test it out. Also, I know what's going on, why it's not getting open. So what's going on is that we're not actually opening our inventory. So what we're gonna do is go to storage. Actually no, interaction handler. And over here we're gonna do this same thing, get component in parent. We're gonna do, if it's not that open, we're gonna do this. Then I'm gonna add the other bracket right here. And then right after storage.open, we're gonna, well, before it actually, we're gonna do get component in parent window handler dot inventory dot opened equals true. There we go. So let's go back into Unity. The reason for it was we were opening our storage UI, but we were not opening the inventory, so that's why it wasn't showing. So now I should do it. So let me go ahead and hit play. And let's just make sure that it works. Okay. So first of all, I'm gonna pick up some items just to make sure that it's actually saving the data. Okay, you can see it right there, it's getting open. I will show you how to disable the crafting. But now, if we drag it over here, it actually drags. Let's close it. And when we open it, it's right there again. So that's pretty much it. Okay, there. Okay, yeah, I know what's going on. So I'm doing close, but okay, there was null reference exception index out of array. So storage UI. Oh, so we do storage dot slots dot to array close, public void close, and where exactly did this happen? What was the exact line? Slots I dot data. Well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna plug in my laptop really quick, and then I'll show you guys how to do all of this. And yeah, pretty much. I'll get back to you guys in a moment. Okay guys, so I already figured out what was going on. So go to your storage UI script, and then over here we're going to delete this storage slots list. Slot update. Actually, we're not gonna do that. We are going to do storage slots right down here that add, and then we're gonna do slot. So right after we generate it, we add the slot. And then once we're closing it, after destroying all the slots, we're gonna do slots dot clear. There we go. That should fix it. Should. So let's go back in here. And if it works, I'll just show you guys how to do the inventory. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and hit play. All right. So where's these stores? Let's just pick up some items. Okay, well, I got the shotgun on me. Also, there's a bug we are going to be fixing on next video, which is pretty much if we drag this out, our weapons is still there. We cannot shoot or do anything, but it's still there. So yeah, it's gonna be yeah, as you can see, once we drag it back, we can actually do it. But okay, so okay, there was a null reference again. Index was out of range. Slots I that data. Slot UI slots. Okay, well, I would have sworn that that was it. Close dot slots dot to array. So when we open it, we're actually adding it. So it doesn't really make sense. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Instead of slots.add, we are going to delete slots.add from here. We're going to delete it from the list. And then what we're going to do is, instead of slots.toArray, we're gonna do get components in children slot. Okay, slot. And there we go. And then just delete slots.clear from here. That should fix it. So let's go ahead and test it. Alright, so I'm gonna stop the game, hit play again. Okay, so let's just pick up some items. Alright. Okay, we got that right there. Let's go ahead and open this. Drag this into a slot. Close it. Okay. Alright, it's closing. Then if we open it, there we go. That's the storage system right there. Now we're gonna make it so the storage, the crafting manager doesn't appear in the crafting list. It disappears once a slot is open. So let's unpause the game and go to our crafting manager script. So crafting manager. Then we're going to do a public bool open, and it's gonna be pretty simple. Let me just check for something. So check your crafting, the game object crafting, check its position. So click on it and check what it says here. In my case it says 0, 0, 0, but if it says, I don't know, 10, 0, 11, that's what you're gonna type in here in the same order. So we're gonna do in update, if opened, we are going to do crafting manager. Okay, no, transform dot local position equals new vector 3, and we're gonna do 0, 0, 0. Then we're gonna do else transform dot position equals new vector 3, 0, 0, 0. Alright, and then we're gonna close it. Actually, no, not 0, 0. We're gonna do negative 10,000, 0, 0. And then we're gonna go to our window handler, and we're gonna do over here, if, alright, once we open our inventory, so on the inventory manager, actually, on inventory manager, we're going to do an update. For now, we're gonna do if window get component in parent window handler dot, and it's going to be storage dot opened. Then we're gonna do, okay, I'm just gonna copy it. So get component in parent window handler, I'm gonna place it down here, dot crafting dot open equals false, and then we're gonna do else again, just paste get component in parent dot crafting dot opened equals true. Alright, so let's go ahead and test it. That should do it. Again, should. So let's go ahead and hit play and see what happens. I think this has been one of the shortest or longest tutorials, I don't know. Okay, there you go. So if we close it and reopen it, you can see it right there. So let's pick up some items, bring it here. I'm gonna drop them right in there, close it. You see we cannot do anything and we don't have them on our inventory. And if we open it, then we just get them. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. It helps a lot. You have no idea how much that motivates me to keep doing these videos, and I really appreciate when you guys support a video. So if you like the video, again, go ahead and do that. But that's gonna be it for today, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.